Welcome, everyone, to the Lindemann Outdoors Podcast with your host, Jeremy Lindemann, and co-host, Buckshot Jacob Lindemann.
Welcome, everybody. We got a fun one for you today. We're going to do something different. I have prepared some kind of hunting ethics, hunting methods, this or that, hot takes for Jeremy to give his opinion. So this is going to be all, he has no idea what these are. It's going to be all his opinion and pretty much responses off the take. But we'll dive in and we'll talk about it. But first, let's do a little small talk, and we can talk about how food plots are going for you, and we can talk about it's up today as we're recording this, our Lake of the Woods fishing video. So
yeah, the old Buckshot himself here wanted to go out and try to just catch walleyes with nothing but plastic. Throwing plastic lures.
They say it can be done, so I wanted to test it.
There's more than they say can be done, and I do it all the time. It's the plastics they make nowadays are probably almost better than bait as far as how they swim and move through the water and the colors you can get. A minnow looks like a minnow. There's not much coloration you can do to that thing, where these new lures, you can get bright chartreuse and pink and lemonade colors and green and fire tiger, and you can have them look like every fish there is. You can, the sky's the limit of what color combinations you want to do. So they're very effective at catching fish. A lot of people don't use them. Plus we wanted to get good with artificial lures, especially like up in Canada where we fish sometimes, because they're going to ban live bait here in the next few years, which, they're trying to stop the spread of evasive or not evasive. Well, they could be evasive, but mostly invasive species, like zebra mussels and stuff like that. But really, I don't think it's going to do anything. It's, because how are you going to stop the birds from flying from this lake to this lake? And, as them pelicans are swimming in the water, they're picking up leeches and bugs and all kinds of invasive species. And so I think their science is a little whacked, but, you talk about a hot take, there's one on that.
Yeah, but
crazy.
I didn't think it was going to work, to be honest.
Oh, I could tell you were doubting this, and I'm like, dude, we're going to kill the fish doing this. You just watch. And, my first or second cast, I had a walleye in the boat. You didn't even have your rod in the water.
No.
And I already had one.
No, I was getting the GoPro ready, and I look over and you're like, yep, got one. I'm like, you son bitch.
Yeah, and that's right. And, 2 casts later, because I think I caught one on my second and my fourth cast.
Yep.
I caught another one. And then we were kind of moving around, trying some different spots. We're kind of off of a point there. We were just kind of moving the boat around and stuff. And I think, if I wouldn't have moved, we probably would have caught a few more. But we were trying to find them. And then we started running into the sun getting a little high in the sky. So I think we had the fish moved out a little bit. And that's when I thought, well, let's try a little trick that not a lot of people know about, where you can actually just use your bottom bouncer and a spinner, and then instead of a worm or a minnow, you just throw a plastic on there, and it works dynamite. Yeah.
Well, you had one within 30 seconds.
Yep.
And I caught one like that. I caught that nice big 22, or what was it, 23? 23? Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember. We knew it was over the.
Yeah, we have a Sharpie on our tape slide that if they're over, they go in the water. If they're under, they go in the bucket.
Yeah, anything over 21 and a half in Canada's got to go back. We were up in Canada that day, Canadian side of Lake of the Woods, but
yeah, it was crazy. I didn't think it would work, but it did, and it worked great. It almost worked better than a worm.
It does work better. I love those Berkeley power crawlers in the gulp type of bait, because if you use worms and they have them in worm bedding or dirt. You just get that crap all over your boat, and
Yeah.
you gotta, no matter what you do, it seems like you tip over a nightcrawler container and spill
Yeah.
mud and dirt all over your boat, and then you gotta wash your boat and clean it. Well, these are in a nice little Ziploc bag. They're flavored, they smell good, they swim good, and they stay on your hook longer, actually. I
Yeah.
mean, I fished with, I only used like 2 or 3 worms the whole time,
Well,
and caught a ton of fish,
well,
so
I was using that new Northland eye candy swim bait. There's like a
super tough.
white one with some blue and kind of, chrome
Metal
sparkles in it.
flake.
Yeah, metal flakes
Yeah.
in it. I
Yeah.
used that thing the whole day. I never had to replace it.
No, that's what I like about those is they're super tough and stretchy, and it'll just stay on your hook a long time. And even jigging out deep, you could jig with those, pitch them to shore, throw them in the weeds,
Yeah, no, that
pitch them
was,
into the rocks, kind of like what we were doing. There's just a ton of stuff you can do there, and they hold up well.
yeah,
That lure is still good. It's
yeah.
it's
It
you
went back in the
go
tackle
out there,
box.
yeah, you'll be right back out there next time fishing with that. So
Yeah, no, it was, I
fun
was
method.
surprised.
Yeah, fun method, something a little different. People don't think about. Um, it's all about getting something in front of those fish that looks like food and they want to eat it. So
Yeah,
we were able to get our limit, fill the freezer. So that was nice. Um,
yeah.
we were kind of,
I don't
go
know if
ahead.
you've seen the video yet, but I decided to help you out a little bit when you were reaching for the live well or stuff. I would blur you out with the freezer filler sticker.
Nice.
I thought that was pretty funny myself.
Nice. I like it.
I figured you wouldn't want your butt all over the internet.
Well, I was trying to get a sponsorship from New Balance underwear made for middle-aged men, so
Not
there was
today.
no butt crack there. That's the nice thing about New Balance. They got a nice tight waistband that helps hold your underwear up. So, but they are kind of slickery, which is nice because they don't chafe. They will make your shorts fall down if you're not careful. You got to do some squats as an old man. You don't want to lose your butt.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah, that was a lot of fun. We did some food plot stuff before, the day before because it was thunderstorms were coming. So I was like, well, let's go mow and get a couple, of our food plots ready. We're gonna plant oats here. We like to plant those. We like to use buck forage oats. They got higher sugar. They're better frost tolerant, I believe. And I usually plant those around like the 15th of August. And so we had to mow and spray some food plots to get ready for that. So that worked out good. We were able to do some food plot work, and then we were able to hook onto the boat and go to the lake and, catch a bunch of fish, trying, a new to you technique, but
yeah.
a little, we'll call it an advanced technique of fishing that not a lot of people do. So
No,
it was a lot of fun.
no, it was great. Well, you ready?
I was born ready.
I have some warm up questions, and then we'll
I
get
was
into more.
also born ugly, but mostly I was born ready.
Yep. Well, I have some warm up ones, kind of quick ones, and then we'll get into more harder ones.
Sure,
So
bring it on.
you're gonna pick. This one is like either or,
It's like would you rather?
pretty much. So the first one is rifles or bows.
I just have to pick one of those
You
two.
have to pick one.
Jeez, this is like a special ed test here. I should feel like I should be putting my padded helmet on and licking the window as I'm doing these.
Yep.
Well, I'm picking archery. In my perfect world, I'm bow hunting all the time.
Yep.
So
I would
bows is what I'm picking.
I would agree. The next one is tree
Yep.
stand or ground blind.
Like I have to pick one to hunt out of the rest of my life
Yep.
forever.
You only get
Are we
one.
are we hunting white-tailed deer or what are we hunting out of this ground
You're
blind?
hunting everything. Like
Ooh.
if you pick one, you can't hunt out of tree stands. You can only hunt in ground blinds, or you can only hunt in tree
Yeah.
stands.
So that means I couldn't use a ground blind for turkey season?
I guess so.
If I pick tree stands, well, then I'm picking ground blind because I can still kill deer out of a ground blind, but you ain't killing a turkey in the spring out of a tree stand.
No,
With a bow, anyway.
no.
They will pick you out of that tree so fast. So ground blinds.
Ground blind. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Early morning or evening hunts?
Oh, for far as killing big bucks,
Just you
is
can
that
only
what,
pick one.
is that what is that what you mean by this question?
Yeah, like you're either gonna hunt in the morning forever or you're gonna hunt in the evening forever.
Yeah, I'm trying to think here. I've shot. If I had to go back and think, which I don't do it often. Um, I would probably pick evening hunts. I've shot some big bucks in the morning. I've shot some big bucks in the afternoon and evening, and I've shot a lot of big bucks midday. There was one year I went like on a 5 or 6 year spell there where I shot my buck at like 12:01,
Yep.
from 11 to 2. Like when most people go back to the truck to get a sandwich.
You packed your sandwich.
Yeah, I pack my sandwich and I stay in my tree stand, and I've killed a ton of big bucks because what those big bucks will do, is they're with that doe all night, especially in the rut, and they're just, following her around trying to make some little bucks. And then that buck it's not the buck, excuse me, the doe in the morning will go lay down or, she'll go bed. Well, that buck, he doesn't care about feeding. And if he's done with that doe, he's going to be up on his feet from that 10 to 2, and he's going to be cruising looking for a new doe or going to a new area. Or going to get a drink himself or, whatever. If it's in the rut, they're moving. So midday is great, but if I can only pick one, I'm picking evening.
Okay. This next one's strictly eating. Deer, like whitetails or elk?
I would honestly pick whitetails. I love elk meat. There's nothing better than a good elk tenderloin and some elk burger. But elk is kind of rich, so you couldn't eat it every single day. Some people probably disagree, but like a whitetail, you can make so much stuff out of that too. I guess you can with an elk. I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna go whitetail.
Yeah, I would agree. I feel like whitetails, it's a little.
Elk is great.
Oh,
Don't get me wrong.
elk's probably one of the healthiest, red
By
meats
far,
out there.
venison and elk is
Yeah.
as good as it gets for you for content of high protein, low fat nutrients.
Yeah, but I just think whitetail, like deer backstraps, I think they taste better than elk backstraps personally.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just
Especially
all the
corn
yeah,
fed.
all the corn they eat,
Yeah.
corn and soybeans to make them nice and tender.
Yeah. They taste pretty good.
Okay, this one.
Mm-hmm. That's a good question.
So this one's solo hunting or group hunting, and I don't mean just like me and you. It's gotta be either by yourself or at least four.
Oh, I'd probably go solo. I seem to kill a lot more big bucks when I'm all by myself.
Yeah, you're kind of a weird buck magnet. Even small bucks, they just seem to walk by you.
I
And I've definitely used that to my advantage, and I've put myself in between you.
Yeah. You had years where you're like, well, I'm sitting with you because the buck's going to come to you. So, and
Well,
for
let
some times I am a buck magnet. It's
back
true.
back one of your biggest deer that you shot opening day of bow opener. I was sitting
Mhm.
in an oak ridge that was dropping acorns next to a soybean field that deer were going to like crazy.
I
And there
thought
was
for sure they were going to come by you.
and I saw a coyote, and you had three big bucks walk by you, and you shot the biggest one. And you were sitting in some random pine tree in some cow pasture.
Well, there was a pond there and there was some terrain features that I was using to my advantage that I kind of knew they would move through there in a
But
certain way.
there was
But
acorns
yes,
on the ground.
you had more bait for sure. I had
I
no bait
on paper I had the best spot,
by far.
and I saw nothing. And you
I
shot.
think it's because you know, I
That
don't
was
know. Maybe
ridiculous. I was mad that day because it was
I
like
think
it was early when you shot that deer.
I think it's because I smell like biscuits and gravy. I think that
The
just that
biscuits,
aroma of a fresh baked biscuit that I smell like, and that just brings them in.
something.
It's got it's got to be what it is,
It's something
or it's all the cornbread I eat. I love cornbread. What's better than cornbread, dude?
with like honey and butter on it.
Oh yes,
That's a hard one.
nothing.
Maybe
Yeah,
like a fresh.
here's a question for you. What's better than cornbread?
I mean,
Hot, fresh,
maybe a
melty
fresh out of
butter.
the oven chocolate chip cookie.
Well, I mean that's a cookie. That's not bread. I mean there's
Well,
nothing better
garlic
than
bread's pretty good too.
not better than cornbread.
No, I'll if you have if you know how to make a good cornbread with
Mm,
honey butter on it.
send us your recipe.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Next question. You either have to spot and stalk, or you have to sit in a tree stand the rest of your hunting career.
Hmm. Well, I would probably go spot and stock because I've actually shot some whitetails off the ground. You were with on a couple of those excursions where we
Yep.
had to. I've shot some definitely more exciting. I've missed a lot more than I've got doing that, but I would probably pick spot and stock.
Okay.
So I know that was kind of boring, but
No. Next one
I'll
is
see.
public land or private land.
Oh,
Which I mean, if you got private land,
yeah. If you got private land, I'm taking private land because you're just not dealing with all the idiots out there. I
yeah,
mean, we got some idiots that kind of moved in on some of our public land and
yeah,
they're just terrible
it's
deer hunters. They stink up the woods. They walk all over. They're
putting
in and out of
stands
there
in
two,
between.
3 times a day. Yeah, hanging stands illegally when they shouldn't be, So basically, you're just putting, you go in there, stink it up, and then to make matters worse, you leave all your stinky stuff out there for the deer to smell.
Yeah,
You know,
and you put stands in dumb locations. They're putting
yeah,
them.
they're afraid of the woods. They like to sit on the field edge, and
Yeah, no.
yeah, if
So
you, if you people are listening to us, we think you're a bunch of bitches. Taking other people's spots. It's public land, but dude, you just can't go in there and hang your stand and then walk in there past everyone else when they beat you to there.
well, we've been
Get some ethics, you loser.
since we've been filming. I have people on camera that I'm in my saddle, like 30 yards in the woods, like you should be off a field, and I see a guy walk out of his truck about half an hour before prime time, which you should be already in your stand.
Yeah, don't even get me started with that.
Yeah, walking in, just like tromping through the field, not even like trying to be quiet about it, climbing up to the stand and sitting on the field edge and scaring every deer that comes out on the field because obviously, I'm letting does and little spike bucks walk past me,
I don't
and
believe
they're
you let a spike buck walk past you.
that year I already
Is there
shot.
a button? Is there a button for a bullshit meter in this thing?
I that year I was saving because of that one big one we had on camera
Oh,
that I
okay.
ended up shooting a small 8 pointer, but
Yeah.
we had one on camera, so I was gonna wait.
Okay.
Anyways,
Possibly.
and they would go past me like 10 yards in front of me, like perfect, and he would go. I was also
Hmm.
out of doe tags. They would go up to the field edge and they would see him up in the open and they would run away.
Snort. Yeah.
Yep. And I was like, this dummy. But okay, next question.
Dummies.
This is what you have to wear in public, like to work, everything.
Mm.
Doesn't camo or blaze orange?
Camel.
Yeah, I think camo's classier.
Well, we're just too big of dudes. We look like the Great Pumpkin wearing orange. I mean,
Yeah,
6'4", 300 pounds. I ain't dainty.
yeah. Okay. Field dress, which means what I'm gonna
I know what you mean.
clarify. Like you gotta do everything in the field. Like you gotta skin it, you gotta break it down everything where you killed it, or you
Yep.
gotta drag the whole deer home. and process it.
Yeah. So, out west when you hunt deer and everything, they don't drag the whole
No.
stupid deer. Minnesota's got these stupid laws for it. Well, now you can technically, if you can get cell service, you could register your deer right there. And then once you get your confirmation number, you could just quarter it up and pack it out. But once you've done that, you never want to drag a deer again.
No.
I'm telling you right now, if I can cut them up and pack them out. Well, I shot that one buck that was that huge, that big 5x5 out in North Dakota.
Yep.
Whitetail, giant buck. I couldn't drag him at all. There's no way I'd have been able to get him into the pickup, and I was way the hell back in there. So I had to quarter up that deer and pack him out, and that's the way to go.
Yeah. No,
Because,
it's
I held the two hindquarters back to the truck with my bow and my pack, and then I went back and got the front quarters and the back straps and the rack and the cape, and out I went.
yeah.
So, yeah, by far, pack out versus drag out.
Yeah. Okay. You have to hunt in the rain or hunt in the snow.
I'd say hunt in the snow because
Yeah, I'd agree.
you just don't get as wet.
No.
The rain sucks. Get all your stuff gets rusty, and you know it's snow for sure. Plus, you get a little bit of tracking snow. You can see that blood trail better. Deer stick out better.
Yeah.
They
Raincoats
seem
aren't
to
as
move.
Yeah, it's easier to wear a nice big comfy warm coat than it is a raincoat.
Right on, brother.
We got those Cabela's, those wool ones. Those things are the best.
Wind sheet, yeah, they block the wind. It's a good coat.
Yeah.
They made it with a hood.
Yeah, that would be like a
It's
nice
just,
wool hood.
why can't people just make hunting gear the way we want it? This is the trouble. We need to have our own hunting clothing company. We kind of do. We got some t-shirts and some camo coming out.
Which,
Lindemann Outdoors.
yep.
Dot
Eventually,
com.
that's the
Dot
goal
org.
is to have our
What's the
own
website, Jacob, for buying shirts and stuff?
LindemannOutdoors.org.
LindemannOutdoors.org. We're going to get more stuff on that store too. You got a new line of stealth shirts coming out that
Yep.
don't have a great big white logo to land a UFO flying over.
Yep.
So you blend in a little for hunting season. Those are going to be sweet.
Yep.
You know, it'd be nice to,
We're gonna eventually get the gear that we use and put it
we're
on the
getting
site.
there.
We're getting there, but
But
it'll
I would
take
love
time.
to have a manufacturer make the clothes to our specs, because like that Cabela's coat,
Oh,
it's great, but doesn't have a hood.
Doesn't have a hood.
Make it with a built-in hood. I mean, you're building something to be in the winter and you don't have a hood on it. I mean, hello.
Even if the hood was like detachable, that'd be nice.
Yeah, that would be a nice option, but I don't even want it detachable. I want an
No.
actual hood on that dang thing.
No, that'd be with a hood. That'd be the warmest coat ever.
Mm-hmm.
Could sit
And then the
outside
wool,
forever.
and then they make pants to match that jacket at Cabela's or Bass Pro, but they don't make bibs.
No, they don't make bibs.
So you got to go to Shields to buy your wool bibs.
Yep.
Which are nice.
They're very nice.
Yep, they could make them a little bigger. They're a little tight for us, 2X fellers.
They fit me just fine.
Yeah, that's what you think. Not really.
They're pretty snug.
They're kind of snug, Look like some sausage casings out there trying to hunt, but you are warm. They're some of the nicest bibs. And the nice thing about that wool is it's not bulky.
No.
So you can bend and move and sit and, hike and everything. And
it's nice.
It's nice. But anyway, someday we'll get there. Manufacturing some decent hunting stuff for people to use.
Or like a nice wool vest too,
Oh, they're the bomb.
Yeah. Anyways, we could talk forever on clothing, but
another day.
So you have to go compound bows or recurve bows. I know you've been wanting to dabble in. You've had that. You shot a deer with a recurve, but you wanna. I know you're wanting to maybe start over, but
Um, I keep wanting to go to recurve just because it's cool.
It is
It's,
cool.
it's cool. It's simple. It's kind of more pure hunting because you don't have to worry about, like a compound. You got to have, your sights got to be on and your bow's got to be tuned and you're just all this maintenance all the time, making sure your strings are good, making sure everything is, copacetic, as they say. Whereas like a recurve, you can just pull back an anchor and let it rip. You don't have sights. You shoot right off the shelf. You don't have to worry about your rest being tuned and all that good stuff. And it's cool, but I'm afraid to go to it because the minute I do, there's going to be a Boone and Crockett buck at 62 yards,
Yep.
and I'm not going to be able to get him. Where now I just turn that HA slider. That's hard to say. HHA slider. I have that RYZ sight. Some people call it the Rise or whatever,
Yep.
but I love that sight. I dial that sucker up at 62 yards and I will smoke him.
Yeah.
I mean, we were shooting our bows last weekend and we were just dropping bombs with those sights, in
Well,
our
when
bows. And
if you got your sight tape dialed, then it's any as long as you hold still any distance, to whatever number
and
you.
your bow is tuned.
Yep.
Your bow is tuned. Your bow is sighted in. You figure out your sight tape.
Once you get that
Just
figured out, it's not even fair.
no, you just dial. I mean, I can go back to 110 yards and dial that sucker in and drop an arrow in there.
Yeah, we were doing that last summer, and we both hit 10 rings.
Yeah.
Not every time, but like we hit them.
No, no,
We were
you got to
hitting
hold
foam
still.
every time, though.
Yeah, I would have. I mean, we were keeping them in the vitals. I
Yeah,
mean, I wouldn't condone shooting at a deer that far. We do all this long range shooting, so that way when we get a 20-yard shot,
it's
it's lights out. It's a chip shot.
yeah,
I haven't shot a deer over 30 yards in probably 16, 17 years, believe it
yeah.
or not. Everything has been 20 yards and in,
Well,
24 yards, 25 yards.
I like them at 5, 10.
Oh, absolutely.
If big
Where
bucks
you
want to come that close to me, that's okay with me.
pull back and every one of your pins is in his vital.
The
You
whole
know, you just,
housing is his
yeah,
lungs and heart.
yeah. Down you go, buddy.
Yeah. Okay. Next question: fixed blade or mechanical broadheads?
Yeah, probably just go fixed blade if you gotta shoot one forever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the mechanicals are good, but like that Muzzy MX3 or those single bevel, those things are good too.
Yeah, I like
I
if I'm shooting fixed blade, I'm either shooting a Muzzy MX3 or I'm shooting an Exodus broadhead.
Yeah, it's hard to mess with those.
They're legit. They fly good. They got a nice big cutting diameter. They're tough. They're they're great.
Yeah.
So Exodus, if you're listening, just send me a 6-pack for the fall. Thank you.
Okay, early season or late season?
Oh, early season is the bomb. I've shot a few bucks on the opening day of bow season. You have the best fall after that because you get your buck tagged out in your home state. Then you can either go to another state and bow hunt, or you can decide to, well, maybe I'm just going to hunt ducks and geese and pheasants all fall now, or
Yeah,
grouse. And there's just,
and you could get
you
one
could
in velvet.
do some fall. Yeah, you can get a velvet buck. And then, oh, now I can do some fall fishing and there's no pressure for rifle season. I can take other people out hunting. I can,
Yeah,
just actually kick back and have fun. There are all these pluses to that. So for sure, early season.
I think I know the answer to this one, but carbon arrows or
So
aluminum arrows?
carbon arrows,
Yeah,
you don't have to worry about them being straight. They're either good or they're not.
yeah. So
Long
this next
story
one,
short,
oh yeah, you go ahead.
no, I was going to say you should know the answer to these questions. You wrote them, so
That is funny.
mm,
Okay, single
I
pin
tried.
sight or multi-pin sight? So basically a slider or, fixed just number of pins.
Yeah, they both have their applications. I'm going to take a single pin sight now because It's just a nice, clear sight picture. You don't get that, you get 4 or 5 pins in there, and they sometimes start to blur together a little bit,
Yeah.
especially as you get older and you need glasses. For those of you aging bow hunters out there, if your pins are getting a bit fuzzy, it's time to switch to a single pin slider. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so
No, I
that's
I like I like the I like my 3-pin that I have. So that I have 20, 30, 40 for hunting in the
yep.
woods, and then I my bottom pin's my slider, which that's nice because I mostly hunt in the woods. But when we do go out west,
Mm-hmm.
then it's like cool. I can dial it to whatever.
Yep, for
That's
sure.
that nice black gold.
Montana black gold.
Yep, that sight is sturdy.
It is. It's well made. They understand. Those boys out there archery hunt
Yeah.
as well. So good sight. Like I said, I'm shooting the HHA right now. Love that sight. I also have a 5 pin Montana black gold slider that I can throw on my bow if I'm, in a situation that I think I'm going to need to. I wouldn't have time to adjust my sight, and I'd have to pick a pin and shoot quick.
Yep.
It gives you 0 to 60 yards. So
This next one I
nice.
know that you're dealing with currently is, do you want a handheld release, such as a thumb or a tension, or do you want just a normal wrist release?
Well, for hunting, I think the normal wrist release is best. It straps right to you. It's always there. It's thin. It's small. You can kind of tuck it out of the way. You know, it, you know, it, you don't have to worry about losing it. I know you can just clip it. You can have wrist strings and everything, but big yawn there. Jeez, I'm getting old here. Time is it? Oh, 9 o'clock. Well, that's why it's my bedtime. I like to live life to the fullest as long as I'm in bed by 9. But anyway, I I like just a straight up caliper release because you don't have to worry about losing it. It it's just handy, dandy, and neat and tidy. So
Yeah.
hmm
It's hard to beat, but I feel like I just shoot better with my
it's
thumb.
personal preference.
Yeah.
Personal preference. Some people like a handheld thumb release.
I just
More
can't
of a
seem to find that nice. I don't know, you can do it, but I just can't rest my finger on that trigger.
you got that itchy trigger finger
Yeah.
going on.
But the thumb I can anchor in and I can just pull, so
Yeah,
helps
yeah,
me shoot better.
yeah, good back tension, key to archery.
This next one is bow hunting for deer or bow hunting for turkeys. Can only
Like
do
I can
one
forever.
forever.
Hmm.
I'll
That
say
that
this
means I
is
still get to hunt turkeys with a shotgun.
I'll agree to that because then you could rifle hunt whitetails as well.
Oh, wow, that's an even tougher question.
Yeah, so it's you can only
Cause
pick one to bow hunt with.
God, I love arrowing a turkey,
It
but
is fun.
also I get the same amount of joy just shooting one in the face with some number sixes.
Yeah, it's pretty good too.
It's like, oh, you're at 45 yards. You don't want to come in? Well, that's too bad. Boom.
Well, that one turkey I shot at 60 yards with that shotgun.
Yep. A little TSS coming your way. Now you're breakfast sausage.
Yep.
So I'm gonna have to go deer then, because then I could bow hunt deer, and then I could still shoot a turkey with a shotgun. That was a
Okay.
tough question there. That's a tough pick because I could also just blast deer with a rifle too, but not as rewarding as shooting a turkey with a shotgun. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'll say my 30-06, that Browning I got, that thing's just. I don't think I've missed with. I think I've missed a deer with that in like 4 years.
well, that's a lot because of who your guide is, and he sets you up in spots where they're right there.
Well, that deer just.
No, and that rifle's dead on. That's
That
a
rifle
fact.
is crazy. Well, multiple people have used that rifle and
It's
just drilled deer.
Yep,
It's not
Yep.
just me. I'm a good shot, but that rifle is the most dead nuts rifle I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's pretty accurate. Pretty accurate.
Okay, so these ones are more your kind of ethical questions.
Mm. Okay.
Hunting over bait. If it's legal, is it ethical or is it fair game? What's your take?
Well, it depends where you're doing it at.
It's
So like,
it's a totally legal in the state that you're hunting.
yeah, it's you're in a state that you are allowed to bait in.
Yes.
So where I think bait is okay, and to each his own, but where I think bait is okay is like if you're hunting way up in Saskatchewan, where you're in northern big woods wilderness where there isn't an ag field for hundreds of miles, and you watch these guys, hunting in some of these places where they go throw out a little alfalfa and some corn in there and they got all the deer coming in. They're sitting in a ground blind over that, completely for that. Um, you know, now where if you're in a state, like in the States, let's say, it's interesting because like North Dakota, you can bait on public land or on private land, sorry, not public land. Minnesota, there's no baiting at all. South Dakota, there's no baiting at all. I believe Wisconsin, you're allowed. They used to be able to bait, but don't quote me on that. It might be Michigan I'm thinking of, but Michigan you can for sure bait. Like you're allowed a 5 gallon pail or whatever. Like those states, you know, I it's to me it's not unethical if it's legal, but what's better to do, it's better for the deer if it's an ag field that's they can feed in year round, or a food plot that continues to feed the deer, all summer, all fall, and into the spring, and helps them get through the winter. So if it's legal in your state and you want to bait, I would say go ahead, but it isn't the best for the deer herd, that's for sure. Bait piles can, you end up maybe shooting, messes up your herd quality. It can possibly spread disease because they're all drooling in the same pile type of deal. Sometimes that those bait piles can grow toxic mold. Um, it's just a food plot is just better. So, you know, but I'm not going to condemn somebody that's doing everything legal, you know, in a state where it's allowed.
Well, you got to take everything to your advantage.
Yep, but would I do it? No, I would try to have a food plot, and I would try to, it's like our property here. We've grown this with food plots to now we have a, you know, we not only have our deer populations
Yeah.
improved, but we have turkeys now, and we have grouse, and there's rabbits, and there's squirrels, and there's birds of all kinds, and there's
The
just about,
biodiversity has improved.
yeah, by far. And that's from having those food plots. And, you dump a bag of corn out there, it's only good for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people like, oh, there's no grouse. I'm like, well, do you plant clover for the grouse? Do you trap all the predators? Do you
Yep.
do do you do selective harvest on them? If you don't have grouse on your property, it's because you're not taking care of them.
Yep.
We're put here by the good Lord to be stewards of this land and to take care of the environment. So, and we're supposed to do that. So there you
Well,
go.
well, this goes into my next topic, trophy hunting. And I don't mean just going for a big mature deer. I mean your African safaris, your giant grizzly bears, your
Mm-hmm.
unique animals. What the non-hunting community calls trophy hunting.
Yep. And same thing. Trophy hunting is, I don't like that term
Yeah, me either.
because there's hardly, it's almost derogatory because there isn't, you know, a trophy to you could be, uh, you know, a little fork buck that you shot, with your recurve,
Yep.
you're one of your first bucks with, you be your first buck with a recurve. Well, that's a trophy.
Oh yeah.
It's in the eye of the beholder. So I don't like the term trophy hunting because all hunters, good hunters, they use every bit of that animal. They
Yep.
shoot an animal, they keep and tan the hide, like we trade our hides for gloves.
That's a cool.
Um,
That's a cool system. We should touch the Minnesota deer DNR do one good thing.
well, and that's like private,
Is that private?
sometimes yeah, a lot of times that's private, but sometimes the Deer Hunters Association will do that too, where
That's cool.
they'll do hides for habitat, so you can donate the hides and then they buy public hunting land with it, that's a great program.
Yep.
There's other people that buy the buck hides and for the leather, and that's where we get the gloves from. We just trade them hides instead of money. They give us gloves.
Those gloves are nice.
Yep, and they are. We get a pair of buckskin gloves, lined winter ones. So the hide is going for gloves. The all the meat gets used. Um, we take some of the bones and we bake them for our dog as treats. We keep the racks in the head, not because it's a trophy, but to kind of honor that animal and remember the story of the hunt. And then the Native Americans believed it helped ward off evil spirits having that European skull mount hang there. It's interesting that they call it European when, that didn't go so well for the Native Americans who believed that. But anyway, uh, having that skull there, a lot of people think, oh, you're just worried about the trophy or the antlers. And it's like, no, I do this because it would be a waste of that animal to just throw these away,
Yep.
you know. So we use everything we can, and like far as Africa, I would love to go to Africa and shoot a bunch of animals. And usually when they shoot those animals, all the meat gets donated to the villages, there's schools and orphanages over there, and there's also, you know, villages that, they're not living like we are. They're still living, a lifestyle of, that they've lived for eternity and, ever since, creation began, whenever they started walking around over there. And that meat helps feed that village. Same type of deal. It isn't like they show on the Disney movies to make hunters look bad,
Yeah.
They're over there, you know,
Well, it's
and a lot of times
conservation.
it's conservation. And then, and same thing with like lions. They'll try to shoot the old sick ones, and that's a little more trophy hunting because, but well, they will eat the lion over there. But, a lot of times the hunter's keeping that for the fur,
Yeah.
the
Well,
big
it's
mane and
better that
stuff.
a
But,
hunter, pays a very expensive tag,
oh, that's another thing.
and goes out there and pays these guides, and then they go out there and get to take, and then those guides I know out there
And they
that,
hire trackers
yep, they
and
they
they pay
they have a
the,
very specific animal they're going out, like they know the animal they're
yeah,
going after.
it's providing a boost to the economy over there because they're hiring trackers and packers, and money goes to the villages of the province there that you know owns that. um and without that, it would be poverty over there. I mean,
Oh yeah.
hunters are paying, they're funding the economy there, so it's a, you know it gets a black eye because of people think you're just killing these animals and letting them lay there and taking their horns or whatever, and that's not the case at
No.
all. And hunters are conservationists. You know, they just people don't like the fact that they're killing animals, but yet they'll go to a grocery store and buy a hamburger there or go out to eat and get a steak, but as
Yeah.
long as they didn't have to do the killing, well then it's okay,
Yeah.
you know, and they're such hypocrites because, you know, for you to eat that steak, an animal had to die. You know, I just prefer to get my own groceries, and I know where my food comes from, and you know, it's a renewable resource that goes back to the food plot thing, right? We're shooting 3 or 4 deer a year, and we're probably raising 50. So we take a very small percentage of them deer to, for sustenance for our family and friends, and we give back to nature, so you got that balance there. And, people that live in the city and, you know, are hypocrites wearing leather shoes and
Yeah.
eating meat and trying to talk shit about hunters, just, they just make me sick. Frankly, they have no clue.
Yeah.
It's like, wake up, you think your hamburger disappeared in the grocery store? Okay. You go to Chick-fil-A and, they probably murdered 2 million chickens a year or more. And
Oh, more
that's,
than that.
yeah, I know. I'm not a math wizard. I
But
ain't no rocket
Lobo.
surgeon, Jacob. That's for
Well,
sure.
this goes into my next one, is high fence hunting.
Yeah, not a fan of high fence hunting because it better be a big damn fence for those animals to be half wild in there, because
Yep.
I'm all about fair chase and, pursuing that animal in his natural environment and being, one with nature and being part of the food chain. That doesn't happen inside of a high fence.
Yep.
I'm not going to shoot your pet deer that you ear tagged and let out of the cage.
Yeah, no.
No thanks.
The only time I'd make an exception is if one of those deer escaped.
If a high fence deer escapes and he's got an ear tag, he's dying. The guy comes over. Oh, he's my deer. I'm like, well, you can look at him in the freezer. I'll hold the lid open for you if you want to
Yeah.
see him. But they're fair game if they escape. There's no law that says you can't shoot a deer with an ear tag.
Yeah.
Not in this state anyway, but probably is somewhere. Who knows?
Yeah. Okay. Trail cameras. Fair or unfair? I
Um,
know there's a debate in the world, but
yeah, they definitely give you an advantage. So, are they fair chase? As the word would be, especially,
right.
but I tell you what, I've got a couple big bucks that I seen them on the cell camera before, and I got in my truck and I headed out there the next day and shot them.
Yeah.
So it definitely an advantage.
I think that, I mean, as far as technology goes, I think like it's not like the trail camera is shooting the deer with a trank dart till you get there.
Right. My chair is squeaking. Sorry about that. But like these thermal drones that they're using to locate deer and stuff like that, definitely not fair.
No.
There's a fine line here, and I would say that cell phone cameras are crouching that line.
Yep.
I'm glad they don't. A lot of them aren't real time, so it's not video surveillance.
Yep.
There's usually a delay, but it definitely lets you know there's a big buck in the area, and if you know what you're doing,
Yeah.
I was listening to Ben Risen the other day on a podcast, and you could drop him in anywhere, and if there's a big buck, he's going to kill that sucker in 3 days. And I
Oh
would say
yeah.
the same would go for us. We know there's one in there, and what he's doing a little bit,
Yeah.
we're gonna get him.
Yeah.
But
So that goes into my next one is the use of drones.
definitely not fair.
Yeah. The
The
only
only
thing
time,
that
yep, go ahead. We're gonna say the same damn thing, so you go
yeah,
ahead.
is that I've seen when people shoot a deer and then they have those guys that have those drones,
The thermal
the thermal drones that can go find your
thermal
wound
imaging.
if you wounded a deer.
Yep,
I think once you put an arrow or a bullet in an animal, it's your responsibility to go make sure that
yep.
animal dies.
That'd be the only time that you can use them.
Yeah.
But people are gonna.
Yeah.
There's always gonna be people bending the rules and breaking them, and
Yeah.
you know,
Have you seen the one where they have like a it's like it's basically like a snare, but on the they have a giant drone and it can go retrieve your deer. It'll like throw a rope around its antlers
oh,
and lift it up and will lift your deer out of the
did,
woods and bring it back
did
to you.
did you see this on TikTok or something?
No, this is a real YouTube video.
Shut up.
It's like yeah. Well, the drone's like huge. They can pick up.
No, I know. I was driving by the other day. They were spraying a crop field with a drone. I think that thing will hold like 10 gallons, which, shit, I think that'll do a half acre or more.
Yeah. But no,
So,
literally it's like, it's got like they tie a rope that's got, like the slip knot in it,
hmm,
and they lowered the rope
yeah,
over the antlers, and
I don't know why not.
I thought they were just doing a joke because they were
Hmm,
picking up each other with the drone, and I was like, yeah, it's a pretty big drone. And then they flew it out into the woods because this deer went on an island,
hmm,
and they didn't want to go swimming. So they called this guy, and it's only legal in like 4 states or something. It's not very, it's only legal in a couple states,
huh.
but the deer is dead. So I don't know I think that's fair. If you don't,
Yeah, I mean, if I was, you know,
if I had the money
un-
for a drone like that,
unable to, physically unable to go drag my own deer out, I mean, that would be a great option.
you know.
I hopefully I can just keep dragging them out the old fashioned way, but
Yeah.
that's how that goes sometimes. Hmm. Interesting. I
So,
got some crazy stuff out there now.
bears and mountain lions, is it ethical to use dogs?
Hell yes, it's ethical.
You know, I don't want to be chasing a bear through the woods.
No. And then
Those dogs
plus,
are badasses.
yeah, and what people don't get is that, you know, those dogs will tree that bear or that mountain lion. And a lot of them, they'll go look at that bear or that mountain lion and be like, nope, that's a female. We're not shooting it. No, it's too small. I mean, it allows for a selective harvest, which is what you want, so you're not just, whereas you're hunting them, you don't always get a chance to get a good look at them. And, there's nothing cruel about that. I mean, bears and lions get chased by wolves in the wild all the time. Okay? It's not unethical. It's not cruel. It's this part of nature, you know. So if we just happen to own, the long lost cousin of the wolf as a hound dog, they're doing what they're meant to do. So there's nothing wrong with that. So there you go. Ethical.
And so now, this one was hunting ethics that I just think we should talk about.
Yep.
Is what to do if you go to a spot and you see someone there.
You go to a different damn spot.
Yep.
Yeah, these people from the cities. Yeah, I'll call you out right now. You might like this podcast, but you need to learn a little public land ethics of counties that don't have 10 million people.
Yeah.
Like if somebody beats you to the public land spot, go to the next one.
Yeah.
You know, don't
Ridiculous.
don't go in there and illegally hang your tree stand, to so-called claim your spot on public land. It's first come, first serve.
Yep.
Have some etiquette, you know. If the two of you arrive at the same time, maybe talk to each other friendly and say, "Hey, where are you going?"
You can probably help each other out.
Right? I'll go here, you go there, and we'll cover this together.
Good luck.
Don't be greedy. Don't be douchey. Don't you know, you know. Obviously, you don't want to ruin the other guy's hunt by giving
No.
him the wrong wind from where you're setting up, and work together.
Yep.
But what I do is when I go to a spot and if somebody beats me there, then they got there first. That's
Yep.
part of getting to hunt public land is whoever gets up earliest and gets themselves to the spot gets the spot for the day.
Yeah.
It's first come, first serve.
I mean,
You
we've
go
had,
down the road and hunt the next one.
yeah. I mean, even out west, we like we were set up in this
Yeah,
area.
prime time.
Yeah, we're in there. Because we know the deer get up at like there's a huge buck there, monster,
Yep.
biggest I've ever seen. And there's littler bucks with it that are all like 120, 120, 130s, like the little ones that are next to him. They're not little at all. And we go into this spot like an hour before sunset. Before sunrise, sorry. Before sunrise. Like, it's pitch black. And I remember sitting in my spot, which was a damn good spot, forever waiting for it to get bright out. And like half an hour after sunrise, which is like peak movement time, everyone knows this, a truck pulled up on us, and these two guys come walking down the trail.
Yep.
Just
Right past me.
yeah, look, which I was farther down the area, but where the worst part is, you heard deer coming from the
Yep.
cornfield,
Yep. Coming right
from the
to me.
yeah,
Suckers. Same type of deal, you know. You see the truck there. You didn't get there in time. Too damn bad. They could have hunted. That piece up top was public too, and there's deer there.
oh
They could
yeah,
have hunted there. But no, they come walk down by us at, and plus they were late getting there.
oh yeah, like
Come,
I don't know what
come
they were
walking
even
in at
thinking.
sunup right in prime time. Idiots.
Yeah, that was the one time that I've ever seen that was like, I don't even know what this person's thinking.
Yeah, super douchey.
Didn't you tell them like through you weren't you like in the woods
Oh,
and
I
then you're
chewed
like,
their ass.
what, are you scared of the dark?
That's what I told them. I'm like, what are you, scared of the dark? Get your ass out here early and get set up. So now you've ruined this whole bottom for all of us.
Yeah,
Oh, oh. I said, freaking morons.
yeah, no, it's ridiculous. Just people need to know that. And if you're starting out hunting, if someone's to the
Etiquette.
spot, you go somewhere
Oh,
else.
and here's another one. So let's say, Jacob, that you and I aren't related. Let's say we're friends.
Yep,
Okay, and I take you to hunt on a piece of public land. All right. And
yep,
you had no idea where it is. You never been there before. I take you there and I show you this hunting spot. Do you think it's ethical for you to go hunt there without me or to go take all your friends there?
no,
No. There is a
yeah,
code. There's a hunter's code of ethics. And if someone shows you a spot, you don't go there without that person or without asking them,
yeah,
even though it's public land. There's people who say, well, it's public. No, bullshit. You didn't find that spot. This other person put all the hard work and effort and boots on the ground to
yeah.
find this spot. So
Well,
now,
it's
right.
not even us. Like we've had people that shown us spots.
Yeah. And we don't go back there
No,
without asking them. And it's their spot. So, it's just common courtesy,
yeah,
ethics, bro code, right?
yeah,
Bro code goes a huge, 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 long ways. You don't screw over your bros to be greedy, you know. And I've had friends that I've let friends go because they went and showed other people our hunting spots. It's
yeah,
like, well, dude, I can't hang out with you anymore because I can't trust you.
yeah.
You know, we worked
Mm.
hard to find these hunting spots, and now you told these other people about them, and now they're in there. They could have went out and did the hard work themselves and found them themselves, but they did not.
Yeah,
Yes, we don't own the land and we don't own the deer, but if you find a spot, and you show one of your friends, it's your spot.
yeah,
It's just common courtesy and good bro code ethics.
yeah.
No time for anybody that breaks bro code.
No, no. And that just,
Live the code.
there's a lot of good hunters out there, and there's not as many bad hunters, and the bad hunters always seem to ruin it for the good hunters.
And they give us a bad name too.
Yeah.
It's some same guys that are leaving garbage out there and leaving
Oh,
gates open or
yeah.
doing dumb shit.
Well, that's an out west thing that's crazy. If there's a lot of
You
cattle
should
gates.
People should be shot for leaving the gate open, letting the
That's
cattle out.
someone's. Yeah, open a gate, you shut it.
Yep, for sure.
No, and yeah, littering and well, I mean, I don't know how many
Oh,
I found beer cans and
yeah. People need to be beat.
pick up your stuff.
Pick up your stuff. Exactly. Pig. Yep. Well, you got any more questions, Jacob, or did we get through them all?
We got through most of them.
Hmm. What else do you got?
Let me see here.
Hmm.
Oh, this one I kind of I know that there's some states that do this. I know you're a fan of it. There should there be a regulation to antler size
Hmm.
in all states?
There's no. I went on a hunt in Nebraska. I in there they have old fashioned deer check in stations where when you shoot your deer you got to go check it in.
Yep.
And so, I shot a couple deer in Nebraska. I'm trying to think how many I got. One or two. Two? One. I shot a nice mule deer in Nebraska. Checked it in. I got to be friends with made buddies with the wildlife biologist there, and we were talking about antler point restrictions and that, why they don't work. You end up with great big 6 points, and then you just end up with, you know, not the right amount of age class of deer, and there's just too much. One if it's a youth hunter that's his first time hunting, and um, so I'm not a fan of antler point restrictions. I think instead it should be, just more, just more of a, you should shoot a mature animal, even if his rack is small, but it should be about trying to get that animal up to, for a deer, you're wanting to shoot a 5 or a 6 year old deer or a doe. Um, let the little ones grow. So, and if you do that, once a deer gets to be 4 or 5 or 6 and up, I mean, their racks are huge. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just how it goes. You don't need to have restrictions.
Nope.
So I
No.
bet you didn't think I was going to say that. You probably thought I'm like, yep, hate. But there's some areas that they just don't grow. You could say, oh, they got to have 5 on a side. Well,
Well, that's a little
there,
extreme. I was
there's
thinking
a
like
lot,
4.
right? There's a lot of areas I was just going to say that, they just put out big 4x4s. They don't even grow to be that large.
Yep.
So yeah,
And
that's
then the next
hmm
question was kind of going back on fishing. I know we talked about this before, but do you think there should be, you know, tournament wise, lives, all this technology now is there's these live
oh,
scopes, and have you seen the new one now that you put this little I don't know, sensor on your rod, and where you point your rod, that's where your live scope points.
oh no,
That was at the new fish convention down in Florida. They came out with that. So
huh?
literally, it's okay. I'm gonna cast, and you can literally scan with your fishing pole, and it Bluetooths to your scanner, to your live scope, and go, oh, there he is, and you can cast
Huh?
right to that spot.
Yeah. You're not putting live scope back in. You're not putting that genie back in the bottle.
No,
It's out. They're on third or fourth version of that. They crank them out. I'm gonna buy one as soon as I get the money. So I
and
mean, it's just another tool. I think there's going to be places that, and they're already doing this. They're going to adjust the fish limits, to as fishermen get more efficient. You're going to have to efficient fishermen fishing. Anyway, that's kind of a funny pun.
sure,
Sounding wise, no, it's they're going to adjust the limits. Um, People are going to be more efficient. You're going to catch your fish quicker. You're going to get home quicker. You're going to lay off the other fish. So no, I don't think there should be. I don't think they should be banned at all. So Garmin, send me a live scope for that. You're welcome. Geez, I'm just hitting up the sponsors on this episode. We're broke. That's why we want to
yep,
reach the masses with this podcast, and we need money.
yep.
Dang it. Takes money to buy whiskey.
And then my last one was if you had to pick one state to hunt for the rest of your life, only one.
Hmm.
Which I don't know if you want to publicly say that state, but
Well, I would name 3. I'll name 4. That would be pretty epic. I would say Missouri for one because that's a $3 state.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can shoot $3 in Missouri.
Do they just have just a crap ton of deer?
They got a lot of deer. I would, Iowa, Missouri, Kansas, Southern Illinois, Ohio, Southern Wisconsin. Probably some of the best whitetail hunting there is. But if I could only pick one state, I'm probably going to go with Texas.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Texas. I always forget about
Tons,
Texas.
tons of deer, all kinds of different deer as well, depending upon what part of Texas you're in. So you could hunt mule deer out west. You could hunt whitetails. You could hunt little bodied whitetails that have racks,
Those
great
are
big
weird.
racks.
They're like as big as a dog.
Yeah, in the south, and then there's areas in the north where they've brought in, northern deer to get them larger genetics, and they grow just massive racks down there. So
Yep.
I'm gonna go Texas for the wild card.
Okay.
Mhm. Mhm. Someday I'm gonna have 80 acres in Texas. I'm gonna have I'm gonna have a nice little chunk in South Dakota, or Nebraska, or Kansas, or Iowa, and then I'm gonna have another one in Texas. So
Mm,
in the winter, I can go to Texas and just keep on killing whitetails.
yep. I saw this is kind of the end of the questions, but I just looked at my phone, opened this, just kind of thought I'd text or something. But there's they're wanting there's a poll as if there should be fishing tournaments in the Olympics, and then
Mm,
depending on where the Olympics are held, you have to fish that country's like main fish.
yep. Hell yes, there should be.
I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, they got all kinds of dumb Olympic sports now. I mean, you got surfing. I mean, surfing's great and all, but there's some other stupid sports besides surfing
They're
that,
doing pretty cool stuff.
yeah, they should have fishing for sure.
Yeah. I
Fishing's just as cool as surfing or cycling or
Is
whatever
golf an Olympic sport? I don't think so.
I don't think so, but
No.
who knows? You know,
I was
as far
watching. I'll say one thing that's kind of super badass. I don't know this lady's name, but I know she's from Turkey, I believe. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry to this lady. She'll never hear this, but she is 8 months pregnant, competing in the Olympics for archery, and she
mm,
made it to the finals, which the finals are tomorrow, recurve style. And I didn't, they just show
mm,
like up close the full draw, and they
that's
zoomed
like,
out, and she is 8 months, and they talked about eight
yep,
months pregnant competing in the Olympics. I'm like, that is one badass mom.
that should be illegal. That's like putting a bottom stabilizer on the bottom limb of your bow. She got that baby weighting down on those hips,
Ugh.
making her more solid to the ground. That's an unfair advantage. Yeah.
No,
Put
that
a
was.
couple more weights on that bottom bar down there to keep that bow steady. Damn,
Ugh, that was very cool.
it's impressive.
Yeah, she beat this woman from China like crazy. She had three rounds, and she went 10, 10, 10 all three rounds at 60 meters.
Yeah, like I said, she's got that extra stabilization weight going on. Genius.
Lower center of gravity or something.
That's a fact.
Ugh.
Hmm. Good for her.
No, I was thinking they should bring in the 3D shooting like they do in the ASA for
Absolutely.
for
Compound.
Olympics.
Absolutely.
Well,
And just a
they
big,
only just shoot spot in the Olympic.
yep, big ass 3D tournament.
I think that'd be cool.
All them
Well, then
liberals can suck it.
you could do a cool, like I'm sure, like I know every country's got different animals. You could have a
Oh,
bunch of different
absolutely.
animals.
Absolutely. Great idea. Probably the best idea you've ever had. For sure.
That'd be cool, like stags and elephants and
Yep.
probably not a panda. Maybe a panda's too far.
Yep. Well, hey, I'd like to wrap this up by saying shout out to all of our Olympians. You know, thank you for representing our country. Go kick some ass. And also, how about, thank you to all our veterans out there for your service that make this country as great as it is. Thank you to all the veterans. We got any veterans listening? Thank you for everything you've done. And hopefully you've enjoyed our podcast, and we'll help you get out there and fill that freezer. What do you think, Buckshot?
I think that's good.
Yeah.
Everyone, be brave about seeing